John, you can see that Delta College is continuing even after that special, let's start over again. Well, John, you can see that San Joaquin Delta College is continuing to operate even after one of our recent accreditation visits. You sent to us Richard Moore of Santa Monica College and his colleagues who brought many avant-garde recommendations to a very conservative area. But we tried to learn from his recommendations. In fact, today I'm taking time out from my assigned reading time to comment about your forthcoming retirement. Normally, I don't like to be disturbed during my daily assigned reading period. But I find that looking at these professional journals as recommended by Moore is extremely important. For instance, today I'm attempting to read professional literature on how to be a better president and to have greater efficiency for the institution and to make shared governance work. I'm reading now The Prince by Machiavelli, and even though he wrote this book in 1513, it wasn't completed or published until 5 years after his death in 1532. It seems it was assigned to the collegial committees to review, and it took that long to take care of. But nevertheless, Moore's suggestion about reading professional literature is very important, and I'm taking it seriously. Next, I plan to read War and Peace, since we're in the midst of collective bargaining negotiations, and I think this is going to give a great deal of understanding. Periodically, during these hour-long assigned reading times, I sometimes like to sneak in a little nap. And a predecessor president at Delta College wrote a book entitled Deadline 2000, The New Higher Education Agenda. It takes me about 5 minutes, and then I'm off for a restful snooze. By the way, John, we want to see you at Delta College, but if you plan to come, make sure you write us first. If you call, the telephones may not be operating since most people are on their assigned reading time, and you may not be able to find the correct time for that. But best wishes on your retirement. Too serious?
Yep. You want to try another shot at it? Try the other side?
Yeah, I'll be a little more pizzazzy. Did that basically do it pretty good?
Yeah, what do you think?
Well, John, you can see that we're taking some of the accreditation recommendations very seriously, especially since you sent to us Richard Moore as chair of a recent accreditation team. Coming from one of the glittery cities along the coast, he brought to us some avant-garde recommendations to the conservative Great Central Valley of California. And at San Joaquin Delta College, we took one of his recommendations very seriously, and that was the establishment of an assigned reading time for professional literature. You'll note today that I'm reading Machiavelli's The Prince and attempting to become a better president. In Machiavelli, one of the things he wanted was more efficiency and better collegial governance. In fact, he wrote this book in 1513, and he assigned it through the governance structure and it was finally published in 1532, 5 years after his death. Also, another book that I plan to read this afternoon, or at least start, is War and Peace. And we're presently involved in collective bargaining, and it's becoming somewhat difficult. So I thought this piece of professional literature might work as well. Oftentimes, I'll try to squeeze in a nap in the afternoon of a tough day, and so I'll bring out this book from one of my predecessors as president of DELDA, and he wrote the book, Dateline 2000, The New Higher Education Agenda. I get about 5 minutes into this book and can get in a really restful nap during the day. So I want to thank you for all you did for DELDA College in bringing all those new avant-garde ideas to DELDA, and I want you to know that we're attempting to implement them. Also, John, if you plan to visit DELDA College anytime in the near future, which we would like you to do, by the way, please call first. Please write first, because our telephones may not be operating because of our assigned reading times each day. Best wishes, John. That was a little bit better.
That was good. Yeah, you were a lot looser on that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we can try it once more and I won't screw up. Well, John, you can see that we're taking one of the suggestions from a recent accreditation visit very seriously. As you'll note, I have an assigned reading time each day, and today I'm reading Machiavelli's The Prince. This, I hope, will help me to become a better college president and also cope with the many problems of trying to get better collegial governance and also efficiencies out of our system. Machiavelli had the same problems. So let's start that one over. I'm mispronouncing his name. It's Machiavelli. Machiavelli, and I call him Machiavelli. Well, John, you can see that we're taking one of your recommendations from a recent accreditation visit very seriously. You'll note that I'm reading, during my assigned reading time, the book The Prince by Machiavelli. In an attempt to become a better president, I'm trying to find out how to bring out better efficiencies in the collegial governance model of Assembly Bill 1725. Machiavelli had the same problem. He started this book in 1513, actually completed writing it at that date, but it wasn't published until 1532. It went through the collegial governance process and finally was published 5 years after his death. Another book that I'm going to start immediately after The Prince is War and Peace. I felt there were probably some things here that I could use, since presently we're in the throes of collective bargaining at DELDA College. Periodically, during my daily assigned reading times, I'll bring out this book if I want to sneak in a little nap. It's Dateline 2000, The New Higher Education Agenda, which was published or written by a predecessor of mine at the college. I want to thank you for bringing these new ideas to DELDA by appointing Richard Moore of Santa Monica College to be chair of our accrediting team. He suggested this assigned reading time, and we take it very seriously. Also, John, once you retire, we want you to visit us. But we suggest that you write and not call, because we're so busy often by taking time out for these assigned readings that the telephones aren't answered. So we're looking forward to your visit. Again, write, don't call. Best wishes, John. Is that any better than the second one? Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that is okay. Yeah, I mispronounced Machiavelli on the. Well, John, you can see that we're taking some of your accreditation visiting team's recommendations seriously. As a result of your appointing Richard Moore to chair the team at Delta College, we now have assigned daily reading times. I normally don't like to interrupt my particular period. Over. I'm sorry. Well, John, you'll note that we're taking one of the recommendations from a recent accreditation team very seriously. I'm presently in my assigned reading. Well, John, you can see that San Joaquin Delta College is alive and well, even after our accreditation team visit by Richard Moore of Santa Monica College. One of the recommendations he brought forth was to have an assigned reading time. We now have that, and you can see that I'm attempting to become a better president by reading Machiavelli's The Prince. Now, Machiavelli also had similar issues to that of the college president. He was attempting to bring about efficiencies and better collegial governance. In fact, he worked so hard at it that this particular book was finished by him in 1513 and wasn't published until 1532. He took it through the collegial governance model, and this is what resulted. I find that it helps to become, it has suggestions where I can become a better president. I don't know why I'm stumbling. Well, John, you can see that we're attempting to implement one of the suggestions from a recent accreditation visit. When you appointed John Moore of Santa Monica College to Delta, he brought with him numerous avant-garde suggestions to our very conservative area. And I'm attempting to implement the assigned reading time as he prescribed. We now have it each day for at least an hour. Today, I started reading The Prince by Machiavelli in order to become a better college president. Also, I want to be more efficient as a president and try to make collegial governance work as he tried to do during his time. In fact, he finished this book in 1513 and didn't get it published until 1532. He shared it with his collegial governance system, and it took him that long to do it, and it happened 5 years after his death. I fully suspect that many of the recommendations that I make will also be implemented in that fashion. Now here at Delta, we're engaged in collegiality as well as collective bargaining. And I thought the next book I might tackle as part of my professional literature is War and Peace. I thought that would be most appropriate for what I have to go through so often. Now periodically, when I've had a hard day, I attempt to maybe sneak a nap during the day, and so I'll bring out the book Dateline 2000, the new higher education agenda written by Dale Parnell, former superintendent president at Delta. I'll get about 5 minutes into this and feel completely relaxed. So I want to express my appreciation to you and Dr. Moore for putting this wonderful team together to bring these ideas to us. I very much appreciate it, and I'm certain it's going to make me a better person. And by the way, John, we want you to visit Delta. And when you come, be sure to write first, because if you call, I'm not certain operators will be available because of our sign reading times. But we'll do the best. We'll treat you well once you get here. Again, thanks, John. That'll probably do it, won't it? I moved up. Okay, good. Thanks a lot for sharing with me. Okay. Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Hi, fellas.
Hello.
Sure. No, this is for something else. Oh.